There is nothing quite as unnerving as a car that is shaking violently at a stoplight, feeling like it is about to stall, while the check engine light flashes at you. That flashing light is a universal distress signal for a misfire, and if you scan it and see P0351, you have a very specific target. This code stands for ignition coil of primary/secondary circuit malfunction. In most modern cars, we use a coil-on-plug system, meaning every single cylinder has its own ignition coil sitting right on top of the spark plug. This code tells us the computer is trying to fire the coil for cylinder number 1, but something is wrong with the electrical signal. The computer acts like a switch, turning the ground on and off to create the spark. If that driver circuit is open or shorted, the spark plug never fires, and you get that dead cylinder shake. Before you spend money on a new coil, try the wiggle test. With the engine running, carefully wiggle the wires going to the number 1 coil. If the engine idle smooths out or changes, you have found a loose connection or a broken wire right there in your hand. If that does not change anything, turn the engine off and unplug the coil. You want to check if the computer is actually sending a signal. The pro way is to use a voltmeter set to the Hertz scale. Crank the engine or run it and watch that meter. You should see a reading between 5 and 20 Hertz, which is the heartbeat of the ignition system. If you see that signal pulsing, your wiring and computer are doing their job, and the coil itself is likely dead. A quick trick to double-check is to swap the coil from cylinder 1 with cylinder 2. If the code moves to P0352, you know for a fact the coil is the bad part. However, if you have no signal coming to the coil at all, you are looking at a wiring break between the engine and the computer, or potentially a driver failure inside the computer itself. Always rule out the wiring first, as it is much cheaper to fix a wire than to replace an engine computer.